say you'll always be my love. We can make it shine. We can take forever, just a minute at a time. Holy fuck. Big ass fly. Goddamn. Alright.
This is what we'll be using to actually manage we're going to right click and now we've created an empty game object because this is now in our script. We're going to need an actual script to be able to spawn all of these animals in random locations in our scene. So in our scripts folder, we're going to right click on it and we're going to create a C# script. And we're going to call this script our spawn manager. Now we're going to attach our spawn manager script to our spawn manager game object. And so if we click on the spawn manager, you can see that we've now attached this script to it. You can see where our spawn manager is in our scene, right in the center. It's invisible because it doesn't actually exist, so you can't see it on the player screen, but we know it's there, and that's how we'll be making all these animals spawn. So if we double click on spawn manager, now our spawn manager script opens up in our IDE, and what we're going to do is create a new variable. Now, just to see what this game object does, we'll make it public for now. And we'll make this a game object because it's supposed to store our animal. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use something called an array to store all of the different animals that we have. Now, the way that you would use an array when you're programming is you would actually use our square brackets. So instead of pressing shift to create those curly brackets that we would use in all of our statements, instead we're just going to press the square brackets, and these two side by side means that we've created an array. Now, an array in programming is something that you can use to store multiple objects, multiple variables inside of. So say we had something like a bookshelf and we had 4 different shelves, and so those shelves we would use to store all of our books onto. We'll call this array animal prefabs, so that way this array stores all of our animal prefabs that we've created. Now, the way that you would read this line is that we have a public game object array of animal prefabs, or an array of game objects which we'll call animal prefabs. An easier way to see this is if we actually go back into Unity after we save. Now, in Unity, you can see that we've created this public game object in our script. And if we go to our spawn manager, underneath spawn manager, you can see this animal prefabs drop down. So if we expand it, now you can see that's asking us for our size. So this is the number of items that we actually want to store in our array. So for example, say we want to store 4 items. It'll ask us what 4 things we want to store. All of these different elements are all of the different boxes that we can put our game objects in. If I were to change this to something like 3, in Unity, it would actually change the size of our array as we need it. Because we only have 3 animal prefabs, we only need to make the array a size of 3, so then that way our array can store 3 different game objects. So what we'll do is we'll left click and drag each of our prefabs into one of those element boxes. And now all of the animals are stored in this array that we have in our spawn manager script. So what you're going to do is you're going to create an empty game object yourself called spawn manager, and then you're going to go create another script called spawn manager, and then in your IDE.
Okay. Public game object animal prefabs. Whoops. Spawn manager. Public game object square brackets then just animal prefabs. Animal prefabs. So, yeah, there's no brackets there. Okay. Okay, and then we just go back into here. Oh, first save, then go back here. Boom, someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor, open the door and let him in. Let him in. Holy shit, it's taking a sweet time. Damn, son. Alright, spawners. So there's 4. I think the moose should be slower. I think the moose should be like 5. And then the stag is fucking 40. Okay, well, let's go for 10 on the moose. The deer should be 20. I think this guy should be 30. And let's keep the bull terrier just fucking stupidly fast. Fuck it. Ooh. Whoops. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so the doe, a deer, a female deer, moose, a regular moose. Right. Oh, not the fucking food, you moron. Bull terrier. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Under the spawn manager script.
Alright, yeah, I already did this. Boom, someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing a bell. Bind it to the S key. I'm like, this is probably important learning, but...
In our previous video, we looked at adding the animal prefabs array so we could start using our animals to be able to spawn them on screen. In this video, we're going to create a spawn action that we can put within our script so we can add a binding to that, like we've done in previous videos if you've been watching along. So I want you to open up your spawn manager script. We're going to add a new variable for our new imp action, so we're going to make this public so it's visible in the inspector. Then we're going to have this as type imp action, and then we'll just give this a name of spawn action. If you've watched before, you will remember that it does automatically add using Unity Engine.input system as a namespace to the top. So you need to now select recap our action, give it a name of something, and within the start method, make sure that we initialize it.
That seems like a big fat waste of time. Because I'm just gonna make them spawn randomly from an array anyways, so I don't... Why the fuck would I do that? That's based on if spawn action is triggered. Understood. Only spawns an animal in the array index we specify. I see, so they instantiate animal prefabs, animal index. Huh. Oh, they made an animal index and then they put one of the numbers in there. I see. Okay, I'm gonna skip all that because that's a bunch of bullshit. This begins to be important. Z is 20? Is it? Let's put a bull terrier down right there. Where's that Z? I think 30. Give him more time. Especially because this guy's gonna be fucking rifling. So yeah, let's get rid of him. And then let's go in here. In the update function, write an if-then statement. Oh, it's just a regular if statement. I don't know why. Yeah, why is the spawn location? Okay. Collision detection, but it's still only being spawned if S is pressed. Is that the point? I guess I could change that later. I could just make it like spawn on a timer. Fuck it. Alright. Alright, fuck it. And eventually they got rid of something, right? The public int animal index. Remove the animal. It's only needed locally in the if statement. So they're instantiating, or they're initializing a variable inside the if statement. Okay. Okay. So Unity engine.input system. So we'll throw that in there. Using Unity engine.input system. And then public input action spawn action. That's inside the public class, yeah. Public, is it capitalized? Yeah. Input action spawn action. Okay, and then spawn action dot enable. I always forget the brackets. Dot enable. There we go. Okay, that's done. We created an array and assigned our animals to it. That doesn't do much good until we have a way to spawn them in the game. Temporary solution for... I don't like temporary solutions. I don't want to do that. It wants me to make this if statement first, but I don't want to do that. Alright. So, don't love the way that they've written that code. It's very messy and unreadable. If input dot key get key down. What the fuck? Did this? Oh, okay, yeah. You know what? I should bind my spawn action real quick. And that would make the get key down make a lot more sense, I think. Hello? Okay, animal spawner, spawn action. Add binding. Come on. Listen, S. Right, we press the S button and we've got some spawns now. And it specifically looks for the S key, right? Keycode.s. Very interesting. Okay, I gotta fucking remember that. Honestly, I should keep a Google Doc, like a cheat sheet for C#. Don't look at my info. Oh no. Right. Okay. C# vocab cheat. Reference sheet. Alrighty then. So first and foremost, beep boop. So it said input.getKeyDown. Is that only for down though, or can input.getKeyDown be used to read the input of any key? Input.getKey. Okay. Cannot automatically detect any key dynamically in a single call without you explicitly telling it which key to look for. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I kind of figured. Any key alternatives. Input.anyKeyDown. Interesting. Input.input string is actual text characters. Okay, that makes sense. I am going to input dot. Actually, let me make a table. That's what I'm gonna do. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Alright, so what did that say? It said input.getKeyDown. Input. I don't need this to be bolded anymore, but I would like it to be a little bigger. Input dot get. It was lowercase, right? That's important. Input dot nope. Get key down. And then brackets key code dot blank. So there we go. Okay, listens for the input of whatever key is put in the blank space in the example. Cool. Can be used in an if statement to read or to listen for input that relates to a specific action. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that one's a pretty good one to know, I think. So I believe instantiate just means like spawn. Instantiate animal prefabs, animal index, and that just says instantiate this thing and this number of this thing at this location. I'm learning. Alright. Okay. Let me take a good look at this real quick. If get key down, key code S, and then open curly bracket, and then initialize the animal index int, random dot range 0, comma animal prefabs length. All right, so if I gotta stop smoking weed, man. I'm retarded. Input, so input dot get key down, key code dot s, baba booey, open curly bracket, enter, int animal index equals random dot range, and then the location, so 0, comma animal dot animal prefabs dot length. Right, and then bam, and then one of those, and then next is instantiate, hate that word, animal prefabs. Interesting. Oh, square brackets, animal index, close square brackets, comma, new vector 3, open brackets, 0, 0. I liked 30. I did not. I want to do an extra one of those. So, boom, bam, bam, boom, bop, beep, beep, deep, bop, boop. That is not the right way to end that, it seems. Okay. I see. So one of those, and then down here, animal prefabs, square brackets, animal index dot transform dot location. Oh, fucking location, rotation. I'm so dumb. Rotation. Oops. Animal index. LOL. Animal index. Close brackets. Dot transform. Dot rotation. Close bracket. And I believe our curly brackets are all in place, because that one matches up with that one. Okay, that should work. I mean, no, with coding it's never that simple. Alright, let's see. Spawn manager. Game object does not contain a definition for length. Did I miss that? I have done that before, where I just completely fucking missed them. Put in a new public class, or a new public variable. It doesn't seem like it though, so that's strange. Maybe I don't have it. Oh, do I not have it capitalized? LMFAO, bro. Dot length. Let me open that up again. Let's see. Interesting. So let's see if I hit beep bop boop beep beep beep. Okay, 50 is impossible to fucking. Yeah. 50 is not gonna work. So let's bring that down. All right, now let's play. And then I mean, those bull terriers fucking go, man. Yeah, but they should be like a bunch of points, though. I think. I'm just, when we make this little, I'm gonna keep working on this outside of like this lesson. When I finish this, I'm gonna add more stuff to this as a learning process. I think down here, I just need to figure out. This is still part of the spawn, I understand. So, spawn the animal prefabs from the index that we just instantiated here, or initialized here, at this position and this transform rotation. Because that's calling on this information here. Okay, I can say what it does, so I'm gonna move on. I definitely like I have to I should even like open up the thing that I did before this and see if I can remember how to do all of that, because that it's not very difficult. I would say, I don't know. We can press S to spawn from the animal index. They all pop up in the same place. We need to randomize their spawn position. Okay. Replace the X value for the vector 3 with random.range -20 20. Then okay. Spawn range X at the top of the class. Create a private float variables. Okay, I understand what it wants. It doesn't want me to have this here. And it says private? Yeah, okay. So, private, Jesus. Float, and spawn position Z equals 30. And private float spawn position X equals 20. Okay, this one I'm gonna have to watch a tutorial on, I think. This one's pretty complicated. I think I understand it, but...
Alright, so we've made it so that we can spawn all of these random animals, which is awesome. The problem is that they're all just spawning in the same place, and that's definitely not what we want to happen, so we're going to use random again to move them around our scene. Now, to get our animals to spawn in random places, we're going to go down into our update method, where we actually set the position of where we want them to spawn. Now, for this 0, because we don't just want them to spawn in the same place on their x-axis the entire time, we're going to use a random range here. And for now, we'll just set it to be between like -20 and 20. That way it has a wide area of which it can spawn all of the animals. Now, if I save this and I go into Unity when I play my game, now whenever I press S, you can see that all of the random animals are now spawning in random positions, which is awesome. That's exactly what we want. Now, our instantiate method is getting a little bit messy down here. You can see that we have our animal prefabs array, but then we have this huge line of code right here. So we're actually going to create another variable inside of this method for this. So underneath our animal index, we'll create a vector3 variable, since we're trying to store a coordinate.
Okay.
And we're going to call this the spawn position, or spawn pause. And in here, we're actually going to just take this entire line for our vector3 that we generated randomly. We're going to cut that with Control or Command X. We'll paste that into our spawn position. And then we'll replace what was there with our new spawn position. And so now we're just using a variable to be able to store this line of code right here.
Okay, that makes sense.
One small thing that we can do better is we're reusing these numbers a lot here. And so we know that in our random range, this -20 and this 20 is the range of our x that our animals can spawn at. So we'll create a variable, private, float, so that we can get very precise numbers that animals can spawn at. We'll call this our spawn range for the x, and we'll just set this to 20. And then we can remove this -20 and 20 to be spawn range x.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm dumb. Okay. Shh. Right, so that's the code for the... I'm just going to do that. / here. And I will also do that. I believe he says new, right? You have to say new. Oh, no, just vector. Okay. Vector 3. Spawn position equals new vector 3. Yeah, and then random dot range negative spawn position x, comma spawn position x, comma 0, comma spawn position z. Save. Still a little messy. Just a little bit, but that's okay. One of those at the end so I don't get all fucked up. No problem. Such a lie. Alright, how do we do? Beepo papi tita-dodi. Not working. Very interesting. Okay, stop. Stop. Go back. What am I doing wrong here? Whoops. What am I doing wrong? Ew. Okay.
And then since we know that in our spawn positions, we'll remove this 20, a lot more readable, and make our lives a little bit easier.
Oh, I forgot to fucking change the... It's so dumb. Because it's still spawning new vector 3. So we can take this and just say spawn position. Save dot. Go back here. Hell yeah. Now we got a stampede. Look at that! Whoa! Lots of little animals. Okay, so from top to bottom, let's read it so we got it. This initialize the animal index int creates a new vector 3 to be the random spawn position. Spawn a random animal from the index using the int initialized above. And the transform and rotation. Okay, that's fine. Cool and good. We're doing epically right now. I need to figure out how timers work in this language, and then I can just, or a loop, I guess, and I could just set this on a loop. Every 2 or 3 seconds, just get this to just loop over and over and over and over instead of it being an if statement. I need to figure out the loops. Okay, that one's done.
Alright, so our game is coming along really nicely. You can see all the animals as they spawn. You can spawn them in random places. We have different animals spawning. We can throw our food. And no matter how many things we create, they all get removed from the screen when they leave the player's view, which is perfect. Now, we can actually mess around with the camera a little bit. So
Okay. Well, for now we're back. We'll see how long it lasts.
Some cool things that you can do, especially since this is a top-down game, so it's kind of 2D-ish. Now, say you want to kind of see what this perspective was like in our game, in our scene view. So you might notice underneath the little tool that helps us change the different sides that we can view from our perspective, we have this tool over here that enables us to shift between what's called perspective view, which is what we're at right now, to isometric view. So you can see that everything turns a little bit flat. So if we do that again, so you can see right now we're in isometric view. And if you watch any of the animals, you can see that they actually develop a lot more definition and depth on the side versus if we do isometric, where everything turns flat.
Interesting.
Now, to do a similar thing within our game view, we can actually manage that through our main camera. So if we click on our main camera in the hierarchy, you can see underneath the camera settings, there's a projection variable. And if we left click on the drop down, you can see perspective, or we can go to orthographic. Now, if we click orthographic, you can see that all of the animals become flat again. But you can see that they still have shadows because there's still depth and light involved. And so shifting between perspective and orthographic is a really cool way to get different kinds of detail in.
Huh. Interesting. I don't know why it has to do that every time. So how does it look right now? You can just see the depth. Honestly, I kind of prefer when you can see the depth, though. Holy fuck, those things go so fast. Yeah, I still think that this is not going to work. Let's say the stag goes at 25. And then the bull terrier goes at 35. Let's see. How's that? It's like it's not possible. I might even set the spawn where is it? Spawn position Z. I might even set that a little bit further. Whoops. A little bit further back. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Ew. Yup.
Hello.
Hello.
How are ya?
I'm okay. How are you?